Hi, I'm Danielle, and today we are talking about job security. Is it real? Is it fake? It's a good question. Let me tell you a story from a couple years ago. So it was 2 years ago when the pandemic first hit, which is crazy to believe that was 2 years ago. I was working at my most recent job at a co-working community. So obviously the physical space is important. This pandemic hits, unprecedented times, scary. No one knows what's gonna happen. No one knows how long it's gonna last. So the CEO, who's one of the co-founders, he sits us all down. I think the team was about 8 folks at that time. Socially distanced, we're sitting there, and he essentially says, these are crazy times, we don't really know what's gonna happen, but I can tell you this, we are not gonna let anybody go. I've removed my own salary just to sort of cushion the business a little bit and make sure that everyone else is okay. We're gonna really have to get creative in making sure that we're really supporting this business since we don't really know what's going on, how long this is gonna last, but let's all really just like put our heads together and weather this storm. And I remember it was dead silent in the room, and I'm like always that person who has something to say, so he's like, any questions? And I'm like, no question, I just wanna say, thanks for getting us together and having this conversation. I think you're always doing a good job of being communicative and keeping us in the loop, so thanks. And I was like, cool, I'm glad that we, had this upfront conversation, and it really stood out to me that he was removing his own salary and making sure that everyone could stay on. He wasn't like doing immediate layoffs to like make sure that the company had extra money or something. He was making sure that the team really came first. So that was what was going through my mind in that moment. Now, the CEO leaves the room, and what happens? The rest of the team kind of walks up together, and there's a couple of people who freak the heck out. They're like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my job. This is not okay. I'm leaving first, like this is over. And I'm like, where in that conversation did you get that? I was absolutely shocked. Me and 2 other people were like, wait, what? Like, where is this coming from? But the rest of the team, so the majority of the team was like freaking out. They're like, I guess I don't work here anymore. They're like, I'm losing my job ASAP. I need to prepare for this. This is crazy. They were just like, their minds were spinning. And I'm like, okay, again, where did you get that from? I didn't hear any of that in this conversation that we just had. And it was just so interesting to see the different reactions that people had. And who's to say maybe it's related to, natural risk level, a little bit of just experience and how much uncertainty they had, like maybe growing up or something. Maybe it's related to just how they were dealing with the start of this pandemic and some things that had occurred there. Maybe it was their relationship with the CEO. All of these factors could have contributed to their reaction and what they made out of the situation, what meaning they attached to it. But that's the key thing, is like with any situation, we're creating our own meaning there. And obviously they created the meaning that like, I am not safe, I have no security, even when the CEO said, I do not want to let anybody go, and I'm sacrificing my own salary to make sure that you guys are okay. So pandemic aside, in any situation we're in, it's less about what's actually going on and more about the story we're telling ourselves about what's going on. When something happens, we're usually making all these assumptions about what it means for the future, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So deciding if something is good or bad based on just how it feels right now or what we think is going to happen is going to drive us absolutely insane. We can connect the dots in retrospect. Even looking back a few years right now, you can probably say, oh, I'm so glad that this happened, even though it sucked in the moment, because it brought me where I am today. And the same is true for the things that are happening in your life right now, or anytime something challenging happens. The truth is that things can change at any time, and we don't know what the future holds. And I don't say that to scare you or anything, but it's actually just to say that your source of security is not your job. You are your source of security. What I mean by that is that you have the power to decide that no matter what happens around you, you have it within you to figure it out. You have the creativity, the problem solving, the strength to work through any situation that you're in, and knowing that you've got you. It's not about a job ending. It's not about a company doing layoffs or firing you. Like, that stuff really sucks, and it can feel like the ground is being moved from underneath you. But if you decide right now that you're the one that determines what that meaning is, you're the one that determines what happens next, and it's not about making assumptions about the future, it's about knowing that any security and strength and meaning is all gonna happen from within you. Your job is not your source of security. you are, and you are not at the mercy of your conditions. And if you're staying in a job because you feel like it's secure, but it's making you miserable, now is the time to start making that change. I know that everybody has their own natural kind of risk level, or maybe a risk level that you're used to. Obviously, you can work on that and grow your comfort zone to a certain extent. But if you know that you tend to be pretty risk averse, you can just work on the meaning piece of things and say, hey, I actually have the power to make some changes, and it's not about staying in this job that I'm completely unhappy in just because I have this illusion of security in it. And it is an illusion, it's the meaning that you're making out of it, and things can change at any time. But you can actually be proactive and take steps to say, hey, I'm taking control of the situation and I don't have to be here if I don't want to. And if maybe that's the situation that you're in, I have a whole playlist about when I recently quit my job and I had my own little freakouts. You know, maybe I wasn't as level-headed as I was in that situation a couple years ago, which is, you know, normal and natural and human. So if you want to see that whole process and what I ended up doing, there's a I quit my job playlist that I can link. And then also I have a playlist around changing jobs and getting your dream job, so I can include that as well. And I will say it a third time just to really drive this point home. Your job is not your source of security. You are. Your problem solving, the meaning you're making of your situation, the proactive steps that you take, that is all within you. It is not about you being at the mercy of your conditions, but you have the power to change your situation or even just change what it means. And we will go ahead and wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. And if you like these little pep talks, definitely click the like button and I can do some more, tell more stories, stuff like that. And of course, subscribe. I've got exciting videos planned and you'll definitely want to stay in the loop for that. I never mentioned this, but there's also like a little bell that you can click right next to the subscribe button that will send you a notification when I upload. It'll be like, hey, Danielle just posted a video. I personally don't have that many push notifications because they're kind of annoying, but I promise that this one will not be annoying and you'll be glad to see when new videos come up. That's all for now. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye!